What's going on, Flea Flicker Nation? You're tuned into another episode of the Flea Flicker Show. We are your hosts, Fred and Dre. We drop new episodes every Wednesday and Friday in the NFL season. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Follow us on social media at Flea Flicker Show. Dre, tell them what the fuck we got going on.
Yeah, man, it's the week 13 review. Recap, going over all the games, and I don't know, it should be kind of exciting. There's some wild stuff that happened this week that we're going to get into. Before that, though, I think we're going to hit college football playoffs because there's a lot of big news with that. Maybe hit up the Heisman finalists, talk about them for like 10 seconds, and then
we'll make it quick.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to try to make it as quick as possible.
Yeah, so big news. I mean, there was a huge shakeup for the college football playoffs. I mean, everyone thought it was pretty much set going into this weekend. But then coming out of the weekend, you had Michigan jump into the top. You had Texas jump into the 3 spot, Washington go up to number 2, and Alabama slide in from number 8 all the way down into the 4th seed. So there at no point in history of the playoffs had there been a seed lower than 6 make it into the playoffs in the final week. And this week, we had 2. We had the 7 seed Texas and the 8 seed Alabama edge their way in.
Yeah, there were a lot of college playoff firsts when they pulled up who's making the playoffs, because Georgia went from 1st to 6th all the way out of the playoffs, which had never happened before. Florida State is the first conference champion undefeated team to miss the playoffs.
Of a Power 5 conference.
Power 5, yes, correct. First Power 5 wanted to miss the playoffs. It's pretty wild. And to be the last time that we get a 4-team playoffs, for this to happen, pretty crazy. And it's pretty much just shows the reason why it's needed to be gone, because the 12-team playoff should be much better next year.
I'd imagine. I mean, 12 teams, all those teams are in. You even have Louisville making it into 12 teams. So it should be a much, much better, or Louisville wouldn't make it in now. They lost to Florida State. They were 12th before that, I believe. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Anyway, but it really expands it, makes it a lot more fun, and it brings in more revenue for the NCAA, which we know they're money greedy. So
yeah, and it just makes it more fun for other teams, other than Georgia and Alabama, and Texas. Ohio State has been very good, even though they're not in there this year. It gives other teams a chance. So yeah, so it should be fun. It should be good.
For sure.
Let's move to, I wanted to hit the Heisman finalists. So LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels had an amazing year. He's a finalist. Oregon quarterback Bo Nix, huge year. Washington's quarterback Michael Penix Jr., the only finalist in the playoffs. And then Ohio State's own wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. Those are the 4 Heisman finalists. Who's your guess, man, for who's going to get it?
It's a great question. I mean, I think I'm going with either Penix Jr. or Daniels, but I think just because of the team that he's on, because he's leading a team into the playoffs, because he's going to be a top 3 pick in the draft, I'm thinking it's Penix Jr.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think he'd probably be the quarterback pick. I think making the playoffs is going to be kind of huge in the voting. I kind of do want Marvin Harrison Jr. to win it, though, as a receiver, because quarterbacks always win it. Like, I think the last one was your Eagles receiver back in the COVID year, so that was kind of like fluky. But not many non-quarterbacks win it, so I'm hoping Marvin Harrison Jr. can pull it off. Personally, he's going to be a top pick too. But yeah, you ready to get into the games, man?
I am ready. I am ready to go. Ready to get this shit on the road underway.
Yeah, I am under the weather, so I might not be as chipper as normally, but we're going to try. Let's get Thursday night football in Dallas, Seattle, Dallas. This was a wild game. The Cowboys ended up taking it 41-35, but this was great. DK Metcalf and CeeDee Lamb were both just going crazy the whole time. Deron Bland gets another interception, but he was kind of picked on all day by DK. He was kind of getting destroyed out there.
That's something I've said before. Like, when you're a ball hawk corner like that and you're jumping routes to get those interceptions, to get those pick sixes, chances are you're going to get beat a lot as well. It might have just been to this point, it just hasn't been taken advantage of. That Bland does jump a lot of routes, but because he does jump so many, just like Diggs, they are susceptible to being beat a decent amount.
Yeah, there were no punts in this game at all. Not a single punt, which is insane. It was just a fun game. Like I'm sure all the fans that were at the stadium just had a great time.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I in one of my leagues, I was facing a guy that had CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf, and he had Josh Allen on bye, so he just played Geno Smith. And he had like 90 points. He had over 90 points just with the three of them. And I knew I was going to lose. There was no way I could make it. So it was over. It was over Thursday night.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
The only other thing I'm going to say about this game is that Dallas's defense, they're going to have to do better against good teams if they want to make some noise come playoff time.
Yeah, we saw that. We saw that in a couple games this week. We'll get to it though.
Yeah, let's move to the Sunday games. 1 p.m. slate in New England. The Chargers and the Patriots went to battle. And I don't know. Guess this was a big defensive game. It was just a terrible game.
Yeah, there's not really much to talk about here. I mean, this game was fucking terrible. 6-0. 6-0. There wasn't even a touchdown in this game. There was a total of 2 field goals for both teams. New England being shut out. They should it's a full tank job. Just own up to it. Stop playing the quarterbacks that you know aren't going to do anything. Try to see what Will Greer's got. See if he's going to be there as an option. Yeah, but they keep cutting him and bringing him back. So
did they bring him back? I didn't even see.
I don't know. I mean, they probably will. Yeah,
he's been cut like better.
He's been cut like 10 times this season. Hell, the Jets could go pick him up right now.
Yeah. He'd probably be better than what they got. Yeah,
better than Tim Boyle.
We'll get to Tim Boyle, but yeah, Bailey Zappi got the start for the Pats, and he looked terrible, like you said. The Pats were shut out for the second time this year, which kind of embarrassing. Yeah, the Chargers not impressive either. It was just a bad game. Let's move from it. Let's go to New Orleans. The Lions and the Saints in a battle. This one, the Lions came out quick and strong early. I thought they were going to dominate this one, but then the Saints, with a comeback, they almost took it. There was an incident in this game, actually. I don't know if you saw, but Alvin Kamara run into the sideline, ended up colliding with the guy holding the chains, shattered his leg.
Carted off.
Yeah, that poor guy, not even playing, fractured his fibula. Yikes. But I guess that really just means there were a couple actually incidents this week with people on the sidelines. We'll get to that. I know you know the second one too. But yeah, this was a really good game.
It was a very good game, and there were a few really good games this week. This was a surprising one. I expected the Lions to kind of just mow over the Saints, but they ended up playing a very good game. I don't know if after Carr went down and Winston came in, if that made a huge difference in their performance, if they would have done better with Carr or not. But yeah, Winston seemed to look all right in there.
Yeah, he did. One thing I will say, Derek Carr and Olave were having a really good connection during the big comeback, and then the injury happened. And that's Derek Carr's second concussion in this month. Well, I guess not this month, but within the last 30 days. So I assume he's going to miss the next game, unfortunately, for the Saints and for Derek Carr. I am excited to see what Jameis Winston can do. But for the Lions, Jared Goff to Sam Laporta was really good.
Very good connection.
Laporta breaks a Lions franchise record for tight ends with 140 yards. No Lions tight end had done that before. So, yeah. You talked about a lot.
He's still got, 5 games left?
Yeah, dude. He's
the real deal.
He's nasty. Yeah, let's move. The MetLife Stadium, Falcons, Jets. This was my poop game of the week, and it wasn't the poop game, but it was a poop game.
It wasn't a poop game. There were a couple poop games, but this is one of them. Not a good game at all. Tim Boyle, Desmond Ridder, both 2 trash quarterbacks. I said to you the other day, like, how is Tim Boyle even in the league? Like, his numbers in college were unreal. He had at UConn, I think it was over 19 games, 1 touchdown and like 13 interceptions.
But somehow makes it to the next level. It doesn't make any sense.
I texted our buddy James and I was like, dude, go try out for the league. Why not? Right? I think you could have put better numbers up than that in college, in Division I AA nonetheless. So
James probably would have been a solid college quarterback if he tried.
He probably would have.
But yeah, Tim Boyle did end up getting benched in this one. I think we've probably seen the last of him. Trevor Siemian didn't look too much better, but he did look a little better. I'll give him it.
Yeah.
The Falcons defense, I think, just ended up winning this one because, I don't know, Falcons maintain a tight lead on the division after this win. And yeah.
Yeah, I really expected more to come from the Falcons using the run game. But I mean, Bijan got 18 carries. But I mean, I guess the Jets probably knew that for the Falcons to win, it would have had to have been through the run because they don't have the pass game. So they probably keyed on that a little more than usual, even though they have been beat by the run most of the year. So we did have some Dalvin Cook sightings, though. I mean, he had 9 carries. He led the backfield in yards. So he is alive. He's not dead.
There we go. He is. Dalvin Cook is alive. Write it down. Let's move to Pittsburgh, the Cardinals and the Steelers. This was a weird game. I think we both thought the Steelers were going to take it. The Steelers defense was supposed to be dominant, but I don't know. After the Steelers weren't even really doing all that well before, but after Pickett went down with the ankle injury, they looked awful. They looked bad.
Yeah. Risky. Yeah, I mean, Kyler Murray didn't even have like a exceptional game at all. It was really James Conner for the Cardinals. He had over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he pretty much carried them. It was really James Conner and Trey McBride. Trey McBride's another tight end, kind of in that Laporta category. He's showing that he has elite potential every week, regardless of the matchup. He's putting up huge numbers. So he shows why he was taken with an early pick there for the Cardinals in the draft. But yeah, I mean, Kyler Murray had 145 yards. 89 of those were Trey McBride. So that connection is real. He had 13 completed passes. 8 of those were Trey McBride. So he has certainly a favorite target there.
Yeah, and he's like, before the season, he wasn't even a starter because Zach Ertz was there. But they released him, a couple days before this game. And Trey McBride is the guy now. This one also had some weather delays, which is
odd.
Kind of annoying. Yeah, it was for like heavy rain or something, which I thought we played. I thought we played in the rain. Yeah.
Yeah. Rain games are fun. Soft.
Yeah, I remember high school football rain games were just the best. Just sliding across the mud. It was probably tough for our parents afterwards cleaning our shit, but
probably, or sitting out in the stands watching. But like the weather games are hugely impactful, and they're part of football. In the stadiums that don't have a roof, you're exposed to the elements. You're exposed to heat. You're exposed to rain. You're exposed to snow, whatever it might be, and that really just elevates the game and makes it part of where you're going. Like, you're not going to go into Lambeau Field, and if it's snowing, they're going to cancel the game. I think that I don't think that should have been delayed at all, unless you're in the middle of a fucking hurricane,
or like a thunderstorm or something. But you always get good pictures and videos from those types of games too. Rainy, like I remember, I think it was a couple of years ago. I think it was maybe the Bears. They're all like sliding together across the the wet ground.
It's super funny.
But let's move. Let's go to Tennessee. The Colts and the Titans were in a heated battle this week. The Colts ended up taking it in the end, 31-28. Excuse me. But yeah, this was a really fun game, down to the wire. I thought the Colts would be better, but after the JT injury, Jonathan Taylor, after he was deemed out, we actually talked about it. We're like, should we switch to the Titans? Maybe. I think that
Colts affected
the game, but it was a really fun game.
Yeah, it was Colts all the way. I thought Zach Moss was going to have a better game. Last time he played against the Titans was his coming out game. So it was the game that he was just able to kind of take over, and it was a coming out game for 2 people that game. It was Josh Downs, who got his first 100-yard game, and then it was Zach Moss, who ended up getting like 35 fantasy points that game. So thought he would have a little bit better of an outing, but Gardner Minshew showed that he does have the tenacity to lead a team. And he's wanting to take these Colts to the playoffs. So it looks like they can get there, and they're certainly looking better than I thought they were. And you as well. So they look like a relatively complete team.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree with you. I think they are on their way to the playoffs. They don't have a super tough schedule. So as long as they just keep maintaining and Minshew keeps doing solid, I think they can make it. There's another team we're going to talk about that might make it as well. But yeah, this was a fun game. Did you see the crazy Will Levis hit? It was really he scrambled and he ended up running and taking off, and he like dove for the first down, and he got hit and like spun in midair and like hit the ground, and then he just gets up and he's like and then
classic Levis.
Classic Will Levis.
But I mean, you could see the Steelers fall out of contention. I mean, they're looking pretty bad. I think they've been pretty lucky to this point because they have zero offense, and they've just been carried by their defense. That defense can't get them there every game. So I think that I think you could seriously see them fall out of contention and get passed by teams like the Texans, like the Colts, in the standings.
Yeah, I think you're not off, especially after this week, and depending on Kenny Pickett's health, that for sure the Steelers could for sure get knocked out. That whole division, the Steelers' whole division, has just had a rough month. They're like all getting knocked out.
Rough month. The only one that's staying alive is Baltimore.
Yeah. Hopefully they stay alive. Jeez.
Yeah.
The Titans did end up firing the special team coach after the game. I guess special teams did bad. I don't know. But yeah, let's move to the Capitol, the Dolphins and the Commanders. This was my any given Sunday game, but it was not a good Sunday for Washington. The Dolphins just owned them 45-15. Yeah. Commanders couldn't do anything.
Yeah, they couldn't do anything this game. It didn't matter. Like the Dolphins were running all over them on offense. They took a pick six back to the house. They were doing whatever they wanted. They were having their way with Washington, and I think at halftime it was like 35-6 or something. Like at that point, like second half, Dolphins just let up on the gas and were not really trying too much, I guess. But you saw Shane come back. Shane did well. Came back live and with a fury. So
yeah, the Commanders just looked outmatched in this one. It was kind of embarrassing, and I would be shocked if Ron Rivera comes back after the season at this point. Yeah,
he's out. He's gone.
Don't have to talk about that one too much. Let's move to a better game in Houston. The Broncos and the Texans. The Broncos had a five-game winning streak, or was it up to 6 games coming into this one?
I think it was 5. I think they were trying to get 6 here,
but they did not.
The Texans could be wrong.
Took them out. The Texans ended their streak, like we both said, but they suffered quite a big loss of their own in this one, with Tank Dell going down with a fractured fibula. That's tough.
Yeah, Tank Dell went down. The backfield went back to a split, so it went back to Dameon Pierce and Singletary splitting. That's interesting because Singletary looked by far the more efficient back.
Looked better.
Yeah. I mean, even this game, the Broncos are not good against the run, and even during their kind of resurgence, and they've been good against the pass, but they have not against the run. Dameon Pierce was the leading rusher for the Texans, and he only had 41 yards on 15 carries, so very inefficient there. But hey, I mean, Tank Dell went down, but Nico Collins stepped the fuck up, dude. Dude got 191 yards, 9 receptions, and a touchdown. So he had a very good game. I wonder if they would try to get any of their other young speed threats kind of going. Maybe try to replace Tank Dell's usage with John Mechie or Xavier Hutchinson. Who knows?
I really want to see Mechie get going. He's got a good story, and he was very good before everything went down with him. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I feel like this game kind of just was another showing of CJ Stroud. Like, he lost arguably his best wide receiver in this one and then just finds another one. So yeah, I think it goes to show he's a legend already.
Yeah, already. He's definitely in the same space, in his mindset, at least his approach as a grizzled vet receiver or quarterback. So like he's throwing to guys like Peyton Manning would, like Tom Brady would. He's finding guys regardless of who's in there and making it work.
Yeah, he's really good. Did you see him almost get in a fight in this one too?
No.
I don't remember who
Honestly,
it was.
I didn't see a ton with the games. I had to watch recaps and stuff because I took my mom out for a wine tour for her birthday over on the Finger Lake. So I did not have reception for most of the games and was just trying to catch recaps when I could.
How was the wine tour?
It was great. I was the designated driver though, so
couldn't do too much tasting.
Couldn't do too much for me. I mean, every place had a food pairing, so I just ate a lot of food. But I'm always happy with that. But no, it was nice though. We didn't go to any of my favorite wineries, so that was something that I wasn't missing out too much on. Yeah. I like dry wines. My mom likes sweet wines, so we didn't hit up the dry winery.
I'm on your mom's page there. Sweet wines for the win. I'm assuming Mama Fred had a good time though.
I did not go, but my mom did have a good time.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, CJ Stroud, a Broncos defensive player ran up to him and the play got called dead, but the Broncos player was still running. I don't remember who it was, but he like ran into Stroud, and Stroud like shoved him, and they got in each other's faces. And then Texans O lineman came and like like ran this guy over. It was wild. CJ Stroud's got that fire in him though.
It's gonna be a baller for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of ballers, let's move to Tampa Bay, the Panthers and the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, he did okay. He wasn't crazy. He did enough to get the win, 21-18. The Panthers almost pulled it off though. They almost did. They were trying. But
they're trying to get their second win and squeak one out. They didn't want to give the number one pick to Chicago.
Yeah, yeah. But the Buccaneers, Mike Evans went wild, and after this game, this marks his 10,000-yard season straight, 10th straight consecutive
record, right?
Yeah, I think he's probably a Hall of Famer at this point.
Oh, for sure.
Insane.
For sure. Yeah, Mike Evans is very, very good. And I think he's very overlooked as a wide receiver. A lot of people think kind of like don't really think about him in terms of being in that elite company every year, but he's always there. He's so consistent. Even if a lot of production is from one game to another and there's feast and famine, he's so consistent on a regular basis that he's going to give you huge seasons.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone thinks about him when they're like the top 5 receivers in the NFL. Like
I don't even know if anyone thinks about him for top 10 or 15, honestly.
He always gets left out, but he shouldn't be. He's always, I don't even know. Maybe it's because he's quiet. Maybe it's because he's not like your normal wide receiver, like always chirping at people and telling everyone how good they are and stuff. Mike Evans,
AJ Brown, JJ, DK.
Literally, it's a wide receiver world. For the Panthers, Chuba Hubbard went off in this one. I think he's taking the backfield from Miles Sanders at this point.
Yeah.
He looked pretty good back there.
Yeah, it looks like Sanders was a product of the Philadelphia offensive line. More so than his actual talent, because now he's in a new situation and he can't do anything. Yep. He's getting outpaced by Chuba Hubbard, who couldn't beat out Donta Foreman last year. So, tough times for Sanders. Should have stayed in Philly.
Yeah, he chased the bag, and wasn't a good idea. Let's move to LA, the Browns and the Rams. The Browns started off pretty good. Joe Flacco getting the start. But the Rams ended up just kind of plowing through them. They take it 36-19. Joe Flacco, first start of the year for him, and for his former rival, a lot of people didn't even realize he was on the Browns, which he hasn't been there too long, so it makes sense. But I think it was kind of funny because, he was Ravens Super Bowl MVP on the Ravens for a long time, and now Browns are like, I guess we're rooting for him now. Yeah, it was an okay game.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, Flacco showed that he certainly looked a lot better than what was there in Cleveland. True. Not better than Watson, but better than what had been there since Watson got hurt. It was interesting. Kareem Hunt took the backfield and carries. I think Ford got hurt this game, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I didn't see that, but maybe he did. I'm not sure.
I don't want to see any other reason for Kareem Hunt to command the backfield and carries, but because Ford was kind of reeling. Kyren Williams is legit. Dude's a baller. Puka Nacua, a baller. Puka looks like the most consistent receiver in LA right now. Looks like Cooper's not fully healthy, so Puka is definitely the most consistent receiving option there. And Kyren Williams, I want to point out, in one of my leagues, in Dynasty, nonetheless, I offered a trade to this guy of a second-round pick and Trey McBride a few weeks ago for Kyren Williams. And he said, no, the next week gives Kyren Williams to the commissioner of the league for just a second-round pick. And I'm like,
interesting.
Interesting. I offered you a better deal, and you took the commissioner for a worse pick.
Seems to be some sort of collusion going on there.
Yeah. Collusion.
That's definitely going to be your face for this video right
Collusion.
There. But yeah, Puka Nacua, he had a huge game in this one. He's now gone for over 1,000 yards. And I saw some stat. He is the only player. Actually, I'm going to make this trivia. So Puka Nacua was drafted after the first 100 picks, right? Mm-hmm. He is the first 1,000-yard receiver after the first 100 picks since the early 2000s. Who is the player? This is actually going to be really hard, but who is the player that's ahead of him?
For
only by like 10 yards.
1,000-yard receiver, first year
Rookie, yeah.
rookie after the first 100 pick.
Yep. I'm going to give you a hint. Saints.
Brandon Cooks.
No, that's a good guess, though. No, it's actually Marquez Colston, if you remember that guy.
Yeah.
He was good for a while.
That's a name drop.
Yeah, it is. But Puka is like 10 or 11 yards behind him. So I'm assuming he's going to break that. He's having a really good.
I mean, Puka could finish at like 1,500 receiving yards in his rookie year.
Yeah. After no one thought he was going to be anything, apparently.
No.
But the Rams and Matt Stafford and the coach there, they had different thoughts, man. The Browns defense was like usually good, and they couldn't do much against the Rams offense in this one. They were getting outplayed. Granted, Myles Garrett was playing hurt with the shoulder injury, but still, they were totally outplayed by the Rams.
Yeah.
And this is the Rams' third straight win. They're now 6-6. They're making
some playoff noise.
Too. Yep. Oh shit, we got the same drop. Let's move to our game of the week, though, in Philly. 49ers and Eagles. You might want to go past this one quick. I don't know. What do you think, man?
Yeah, it was an ugly one. But hey, a little dose of humility never hurt anybody. I think I'm not too worried. I do like that the Eagles got Shaq Leonard, Darius Leonard, with a name change. 4-time All-Pro linebacker coming in. They signed him the day after this game. So it was an immediate signing for a position that they needed a lot of help with. So San Francisco knew the Eagles were depleted across the middle at their linebacker position. Every linebacker that played this game, I mean, I'm not including Hassan Reddick because he's on the edge every time rushing the passer. He's not in coverage. Mm-hmm. Every linebacker was cut at some point in the season by the Eagles and was brought up off the practice squad. So Nicholas Morrow, for a stat in this game, gave up 179 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was absolutely torched by Kittle and Metcalf across the middle. So I think Darius is going to be a huge help for that. Getting Zach Cunningham back as well is a good help. Nakobe Dean, whenever he comes back, is a huge help as well. Would love to see Dallas Goedert come back. Rumor is we're still going to talk to Ertz to come in as well. So there's help on the way. It was definitely an embarrassing loss, and one that really makes the Eagles kind of do a gut check. Because the Eagles were reeling. They were 10-1. They smoked the 49ers last year. First quarter, Niners had negative yardage. The defense looked good. I think the defense was just tired. They had the NFL record in most snaps played in 13 games. So it was pretty crazy, but not making excuses. They just got to do better. Got to execute better. First quarter, they drove down the field, settled for 2 field goals. They went up 14-0 instead of 6-0. Different kind of narrative there in the game. Kind of puts a little bit more pressure on the 49ers. So second quarter, down 28-13, 4th and 1. Got to think the Eagles are going to go for it. At that point, with a little tush push, brotherly shove, they punted it. So not really. I think there has to be some aggression there from Nick Sirianni. Also think the run game needs to be established. You can't have a game where prior to the fourth quarter, when you're down big anyway, DeAndre Swift has like 5 carries. It's just it's not a recipe for success.
What happened to Rashad Penny? I thought he was going to
I know
do stuff this year.
I think he should be the second back outside of Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell isn't good outside of just a couple receiving plays. He's certainly the less efficient runner. Rashad Penny looked good in Seattle. So when he's healthy, he's very good, and he hasn't gotten any burn.
I feel like he could be nasty behind the Eagles O-line.
I do too, dude.
He doesn't get carries. Is he active in games?
He's not even in games at all. He's the 4th back. He's behind Boston Scott. So
that's crazy.
But I just don't get the lack of a run identity. I understand that the 49ers are a very good run defense, but to not run at all, you can't run an option offense if you have no run to option to. So if you're just going to take off with Hurts or pass, there's no threat there. They're just going to jump on it every time if there's no threat to the run.
Yeah, man. This is a wild game. The Eagles came out strong, like you said. I remember you messaged me like the 49ers can't do anything, and then then all of a sudden they started exploding.
And they scored 6 straight touchdowns. Fucking joke.
Yeah. This game had a weird altercation in it as well. Who was it? Dre Greenlaw, I believe.
Yeah, it was Greenlaw and Big Dom.
Yeah, Big Dom. Yeah, because Greenlaw suplexed Devontae Smith, I believe, right off at the sideline, and Dom took exception to that. You
Yeah,
can't
and
be doing
he
that,
came
though.
over and he was like trying to separate them, which like is that not his job because he's head of security? So like, should he?
Is it? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if like what happens there. Like, it's on the sidelines. It's not on the field. So like, does security get involved, or is it strictly the refs? Like on the field? How does that work?
I don't know the rules. I do know that he got ejected from the game, though, so I think they didn't want it to happen.
I know Greenlaw
tried to punch him.
Yeah.
He didn't fully get it, but he clipped his nose a little bit, like doop.
Yeah. Dom's a big dude. He's bigger than Greenlaw.
Dom is a scary dude. He's huge.
Yeah. He like bear hugs these NFL guys like all the time, and he's like pushing them around like they're kids. And I'm like, that guy, you should be on the field, guy.
Yeah.
No, he's a Philly legend, and he's only going to increase his legendary status now.
Yeah, Philly fans are probably.
If it was a game we won, his legendary status would be like up here. It'd be in the stratosphere, but still, it looks like the Niners and Philly are becoming quite a bit of a rivalry now. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you get some big Dom like signs next game or something. Maybe next Philly game.
Yeah, you might see them in Dallas. I mean, Philly fans like to travel, so
yeah, true. Is that this week?
That's next week, dude.
Dude, I'm pumped for that. That should be fun.
That should be good.
Let's move to Sunday Night Football in Lambeau Field. The Packers and the Chiefs. This game was shocking to me. Absolutely shocking. The Packers didn't have Aaron Jones in this one. They looked pretty good against the Lions, beating them in the Turkey Bowl, but I didn't really think they had a chance against what's a pretty solid Chiefs team, you know?
Yeah. You're not going to believe me. I don't think most people will because I didn't say it, but I almost picked the Packers in this game.
Really?
I almost picked them just because their defense, I think, is underrated. And Jordan Love was kind of dealing the last few games going into this, and he continued dealing in this game to Watson. Watson did come out of the game with an injury, so that it could be impactful going forward. But
another hamstring. Christian Watson's been having a hamstring injury all year. He's been battling that hamstring injury.
All career.
Quite a few games. All career. But are the Packers legit now after two huge wins in a row? The Lions and the Chiefs, those are playoff teams, and they beat both of them now 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, beat both of them. They won't have potentially Watson for a few weeks, but Romeo Doubs is good. Jaden Reed, very good rookie for them. I do think Tucker Kraft is a better tight end than Luke Musgrave. So I think he's a pretty good option there. And they're doing this without Aaron Jones as well. So once Aaron Jones comes back, he's certainly a more impactful running back than A.J. Dillon. It might be legit.
Yeah, they're definitely in the playoff hunt now at 6-6. So that's pretty exciting for Packers fans. Jordan Love was he was a big question mark coming into this year. And it's been kind of a struggle. He's been up and down, but the past couple weeks, he's looked really good. He outduels Mahomes in this one, which is not something to take lightly. And this was his fourth game this year with 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. So he's had some good games. I think he's getting paid after this year.
Yeah, we said it. A few weeks ago, it looked like he was kind of playing for his job, but at this point, it looks like he's probably secured that.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. And like you said, their defense is pretty solid as well. I think there's a chance that they make some noise come playoff time too.
Yeah, they could certainly play an upset to some teams.
Yeah, I mean they beat maybe the 2 best.
Yeah, if I'm a team that's going to be playing in the divisional rounds for the playoffs, if I don't have that first round bye, I'm scared to play the Packers at this point.
Yeah, I would agree with that. For the Chiefs, this was a bad game. It's they have Super Bowl aspirations as always, and they were exposed a little. They've been kind of exposed all year with the lack of receiving. But this game really exposed them, I would say, losing to a Packers team that they should have beat, you would think.
Yeah.
But yeah. We'll see what they can do. They're still going to make the playoffs, so we'll see what they can do. They like to turn it on during the playoffs during January. Let's move to Monday Night Football, though. Oh, what you got?
I was just going to say they do get that lift. They really come to perform similar to how the Patriots used to.
Yeah, exactly. Or Eli Manning, the Giants.
Yeah.
But let's move to Monday Night Football. Huge game. Bengals heading into Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. It ended up being a really good game, but there was a pretty bad injury in this one. What do you got, man?
Yeah, really good game. Who would have expected Browning to perform the way he did and lead the Bengals over the Jaguars, who had a pretty decent defense coming into this game? I know my projection of having Ridley go off was not did not come to fruition, but Trevor Lawrence looked pretty solid still while he was in there, and Ingram looked good. Zay Jones looked good. Calvin really led the team in targets, but did nothing with them. Browning though outdueled Lawrence. Even before the injury, he was performing better. So but yeah, that's the big news of this is Trevor Lawrence helped off the field. So hopefully it isn't too serious, doesn't keep him out too long, but that is a huge blow.
It looked really bad when it happened. He like threw his helmet. I think he actually thought his ankle was like broken when I'm sure he was in a lot of pain. They did confirm that it's a sprain, which is very good news. But if it's a high ankle sprain, I didn't see if it's high or low. If it's a high ankle sprain, he could be missing multiple weeks. So we'll see what happens. It definitely, the Jaguars are trying to get into the playoffs, so it definitely hurts them. But
definitely a tough blow. And you could see with the wake of that injury, you could see the Texans or Colts storm forward to kind of take that division. Because you got to imagine that with CJ Beathard at quarterback, the Jaguars are not going to be in contention.
Or maybe he plays like Jake Browning. I don't know.
Who knows?
You never know. There's been a lot of weird quarterback things going on this year. So
and if you want to like hit a little bit about the in the hunt here, we've got a little bit of time here left. I mean, right now the way the standings are in the AFC, you got Miami Dolphins with the 1 seed. Dolphins with the 1 seed. That's wild. Ravens with a 2, Chiefs 3, Jags 4, all as the division leaders, and then followed by Steelers, Colts, and Browns.
We'll see if the Steelers and Browns can stay up there.
Yeah, that's just what I was going to say. Steelers and Browns, I think they're both going to fall out and be replaced by the Texans for sure. And then the final seed will be probably down between the Broncos and Bills. I think the Bills should get it. I think they are the better team. I would rather see the Bills kind of get in. So yeah, that's the way the AFC looks right now. I think it's going to end up being Bills and Texans squeaking in. I think the Jaguars are going to end up getting a wild card. I think they're going to be just safe enough to get a wild card there. But I think the Texans are going to end up taking the division now with the wake of Lawrence's injury.
Yeah, I could see that. I would agree with that. What do you got for the other conference?
Yeah, NFC. Eagles after the loss are still the top seed. They're 10-2. This game against Dallas this week is going to be hugely impactful. So you have Dallas at 9-3, second in the division. If they come away with a win there, then those teams are tied going through the rest of the season. They split, so that'll be very tough at the end of the year. But Eagles 1 right now, 49ers second, third being the Lions. Falcons squeaking in there with top seed in the NFC South. Cowboys top wild card, then Vikings and Packers at the moment. I think Packers stay up there. Vikings, I think, fall out.
They could
fall out. I think the final spot or final 2 spots there between the Vikings, Packers, and then Rams, Seahawks is going to be very close.
Yeah, I think at this point I would guess Rams and Packers.
I agree. I think it's the same for me because the Seahawks have a very tough schedule still remaining. Yeah. They still have to play the 49ers again. They still have to play the Eagles. So they have a tough schedule remaining. I think it's more realistic for the Rams to come out with a better record over the next 5 than the Seahawks and the Vikings. I did have some faith there with the Pasternaut, but Justin Jefferson still is not back. We don't know what's going to happen after the bye. And that last game, he looked really bad. The team looked really bad. So unless I see something different, I'm not really going to have any faith that they're going to remain in the wild card spot.
Yeah, I think the tape's out on the Pasternaut. I think people know how to scheme against him now.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully he can come back because I do like him and I want to see him do good. But it looks like they've figured him out at this point. We'll see.
Yeah. And the Rams look like a legit team. So I mean, they have a good run game, multiple good receivers, a good experienced veteran quarterback. So they have the tools to make it in.
Heck yeah.
So it's kind of a little bit of rundown there. Should be exciting over the next few weeks. A lot of teams pushing for those wild card spots. A lot of divisional shakeups could happen. We mentioned the AFC South, NFC East, but there's a ton of them that can really shake up. Don't really foresee it happening for the AFC East or AFC North, but AFC West with the Chiefs only being at 8-4, who knows how that's going to look? I mean, the rest of their division's not great, but they lose to the Packers this week. So, yeah.
Yeah,
pretty much it.
I think that about wraps it up, though, man.
Yeah, that about wraps things up. We are good to go. We'll see you next time when we do our predictions, but that is a wrap on this episode, another episode of the Flea Flicker Show. The best way to support our show is to leave a rating or review on all platforms you listen on, and of course, by liking our platform. Make sure you subscribe to the Flea Flicker Show on YouTube. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Follow on all social media at Flea Flicker Show. And until next time, thank you, Flea Flicker Nation.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Why are there balloons? Did I do balloons?
Apparently. Yeah. Your little piece did balloons.
I guess.
Maybe.
So
I don't
strange.
know. All right.
Yeah.